Hello, this is Mrs. Correa here at John Marshall High School, and today we're going to talk about finding the area and circumference of circles. Before we begin, let's go ahead and write the formulas we're going to need today at the top of our paper. So for the area, for the formula for the area of a circle is A equals pi r squared. The formula for circumference, which we remember circumference is the distance all the way around the edge of a circle, is we actually have two formulas for circumference. We've got C equals 2 pi r, so 2 times pi times the radius, and then we have the formula C equals pi d, so pi times the diameter. And you can use whichever formula you want based off of what's given, and we'll see that here in a minute. Now we also need to remember that pi, this pi symbol, we're going to say that equals 3.14. Okay, now we know that it's actually a number that goes on forever, but we're rounding it to 3.14 today. So number one gives us a circle, and it says find the circumference of each circle. So we're going to first look and see, okay, what are we given? Well, we are given a circle, and it looks like the radius equals 4.5. And we know it's the radius because it is halfway across the circle. It starts in the center, and it goes to the edge. So we're going to go ahead and label that r equals 4.5. And we need the circumference formula that has an r in it. So we're going to use this formula, the first formula right here. So we're going to copy that down. C equals 2 pi r for my first step of showing my work. My next step is to replace all of the numbers. So I've got 2 times pi, and we know pi is 3.14, times the radius, which we know in the circle is 4.5. So once I've replaced all of my variables and symbols with the numbers they represent, I can then start doing my multiplication. So I can do 2 times 3.14 is going to give me 6.28. So now I have to do 6.28 times 4.5, and that's going to give me my final answer of 28.26 meters. And my instructions actually tell me to round to the nearest tenth. So the nearest tenth is the first number after that decimal place. So my final answer is 28.3 meters. All right, that is how you find the circumference of a circle given the radius. Now let's find the circumference of the circle given the diameter. So let's do number 4. So if you're given the diameter, that means we're going to actually use the second formula we wrote on our page, which is C equals pi d. So that's going to be pi times the diameter. Our second step is going to be replace all symbols and variables with the numbers they represent. So I'm going to replace pi with 3.14, and then I'm going to replace d, diameter, for what the circle has given us as the diameter. So that's going to be 30.2. And then I can go ahead and do my multiplication. 3.14 times 30.2 is 94.828 centimeters. And since we're rounding to the nearest tenth, I'm going to say my answer is 94.8 centimeters. All right, so that's how you find the circumference of a circle given a radius or a diameter. We're going to go ahead and jump to the back of the page, and we're going to review how to find the area of a circle. So number 9, it says find the area of each. Round to the nearest tenth. And remember, our formula for area of a circle is A equals pi r squared. My first step is to replace all symbols and variables with the numbers they represent. And we know that pi is 3.14. And we know r in this situation is the radius. And that is going to be 12. So I'm going to rewrite 12 squared. Don't forget that exponent. All right. Now, by order of operations, the first thing I need to do is exponents, right? Parentheses and then exponents. So that means that I am going to do 12 times 12 first to give me 144. And then I'm going to multiply that times 3.14. So 3.14 times 144 is going to give me my final answer, well, my answer of 452.16 feet squared. Remember, since we're talking about area, we need that little exponent on our unit. And then it says round to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to write 452.2 because this second value after the decimal was greater than 5. That means my first value needs to be bumped up to the next number. So 452.2 feet squared is our final answer for the area of this circle. All right, now remember, as you solve the other ones, if they give you the diameter, like they do in this circle here, you need to divide by 2 to get the radius. So if our diameter is 20, to get the radius, we got to divide by 2, which is 10. So go ahead and make that note there. Notice they give you the diameter on 14, so you'll have to divide that diameter by 2 as well. But I'm going to let you do that. And then we're going to jump down to this very last section here. This section says find the diameter of each circle. Now this is asking us to work backwards. It's giving us the answer and they want us to find the diameter. So let's do a couple, we'll do 2 of these together and then I'll let you do the other 2 on your own. So number 17 says find the area, given the area 4 pi inches squares, we need to find the diameter. Now remember our formula for area is pi r squared. And they tell us that equals 4 pi. So we've written ourselves this little equation here. We know pi r squared equals 4 pi. Now, what do both sides of the equation have in common? They both have pi. So I'm going to divide both sides by pi, do a little algebra here, and that's going to cancel out pi on both sides. So I'm just left with r squared equals 4. Now, r squared is radius times itself. So we're asking ourselves what number times itself gives us 4. In other words, what is the square root of 4? Well, we know that 2 times itself gives us 4. So our radius is 2. Are we done? No, because they asked for the diameter. Now remember, radius is half the circle, diameter is all the way across the circle. So before we are finished, we need to do our radius times 2 to get our diameter. So in this case, our diameter equals 4. For what? 4 inches. Don't forget to label. All right, number 19. Gives us the circumference, 162 pi yards, and they want us to find the diameter. So they gave us the circumference. Whenever they do this, we're going to actually use the formula pi d for circumference, and that equals 162 pi. And we're going to use the pi d formula because they're asking us for diameter. So remember, whatever they're asking for, that's going to help you choose which of the 2 circumference formulas to use. So we know pi times the diameter equals 162 pi, okay? What do both sides have in common? Yet again, they both have pi. So if we divide both sides by pi, that's going to cancel out that pi symbol on both sides of my equal sign, and I am left with d equals 162. Guess what? We're done. That is the diameter of the circle. 162 what? 162 yards. Don't forget to label.